rising up because of BLM, because slavery existed and this isn't a racism, then I'd say, okay, fine, fair bait. But it feels exceptional to me that the same people who applauded me for this exact same rhetoric, and I'm going to give you an example here, David Horowitz of the Horowitz Freedom Center, he's a despicable human being. How dare you give me a literal award and say you are so great for tackling BLM and talking about all of the ills of Black Lives Matter and talking about how we're using this one issue and they're destroying communities and they're doing all of that. And then when I say, oh wow, look at this issue going on post October 7th, you suddenly go, no, you're an anti-Semite of the week and you deserve to have your entire life destroyed. I don't accept Jewish supremacy, and that's what it sounds like to me when you have individuals who didn't care when I said the exact same thing, who still don't care, as I still cover Black American issues like Sexy Red and Cardi B and talk about how their fame is completely fake and that there's some system that allows this fame to float to the top, and yet you're so sensitive if it has to do with a Jewish person. Also white people. The people that get the most coverage on my show are white people. I'm constantly pointing to what's happening in their TikTok trends and what they're doing, and they're not offended. So it actually, to me, is like snowflake culture that's gone writ large in the Jewish community, and they're just calling everything anti-Semitism, like Black Americans called everything racism in 2020, and I'm consistent. I find it boring, and I'm not going to be like persuaded against talking about these topics because there's a Jewish sensitivity. So this is a great conversation. I mean, Ami and I are just talking purely. You know what I appreciate? A brand that is not afraid to stand by me as I do that. A brand that allows me a platform to speak freely about the most important issues that we are facing as a country. That's why I'm so happy to say Pure Talk is still my wireless company. If you haven't made the switch yet, I encourage you to switch now. Pure Talk puts you on America's most dependable 5G network and offers unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $20 a month. Why would you still be with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile? You can literally get the best coverage, 100% US-based customer service team, plus your family can save up to $1,000 per year. And you'll also be supporting American jobs, the U.S. veteran-led company, and the great charities that Pure Talk supports as well, like America's Warrior Partnership, who's on the front lines of preventing veteran suicide. So go to puretalk.com/Owens and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month when you make the switch today. Again, go to puretalk.com/Owens and support a wireless company who shares your values.
Right. Well, I mean, I find it really interesting because I think the way you're coming at it is as if the Jewish community is acting woke and snowflakey, and the way I'm coming at it from seeing what you're saying is that is like using woke collectivist sort of leftist tactics and sort of generalizing about groups and using like using the identity as paramount, as if that's relevant in any way to the stories you're covering.
But I didn't say I didn't say it was relevant. That's what I'm saying. I never said that it was relevant that Magnus Hirschfeld was a Jew. No more than I said that before other people that I had mentioned before I got to Magnus Hirschfeld. Sigmund Freud was also in that segment. He happens to be Jewish. But I also didn't say that their Judaism was the reason for this, or if they view it as a race, that because they're racially Jewish, that this was the reason. I never connected that dot. I simply said their names, and Jewish people got offended. They just cannot handle that there could have been a Jewish pervert that existed and had a weird sex institute. He wasn't a pervert. I'm sorry. Magnus Hirschfeld's a pervert. I find it weird and extraordinary that someone would race to defend a pervert. Like if someone was like, hey, here's a black pedophile, I'm not like, how dare you talk about this black pedophile? We're going to defend this black pedophile. How dare you talk about this at all? I find that to be quite bizarre. Like you're actually not required because you're a Jewish person and this guy happens to be Jewish to defend him, Magnus Hirschfeld, because he has nothing to do with such fame.
Right, but if you went on to say every time you said, I'm just asking questions, it's a black pedophile, I don't know what's going on with black people, but something's going on here, and then when black people got offended, you'd say, why can't I, like, making it part of the narrative is what's.
But you're making that up. You don't have several episodes where I said, I'm not going to, that's just you kind of saying that right now. You gave a specific example about Magnus Hirschfeld, and I told you this was an episode where I was talking about psychology, and I had listed 4 Christians in that exact same monologue. No Christians. Okay. No Christians were outraged because no Christians are snowflakes, right? So they weren't like, why is Candace pointing out what the Christians are, that there were Christian perverts in the past, and yet the Jewish community post October 7th has gotten a little snowflakey. Everybody can see that, except even speaking to your point, by the way, and I'm sorry to cut you off here because this kind of even proves it further. When we first began that conversation with Dave Smith, and you were talking about these people online that hate Jews, you know, these anonymous accounts, and I had a Jewish friend who had messaged me and asked me, can you publicly disavow these people that are saying bad stuff about Jews? What an absurd notion. Welcome to the internet. Every time I've logged on since I was anti-BLM, I'm being called a coon, I'm being called an N-word, I'm being called a house N-word, and I've never reached out to my Jewish friends and said, hey, could you do me a favor and disavow these random accounts on the internet? It's like, grow up. I'm sorry. If this is too much for you to handle on Twitter, log off. You're adults. This is how the internet works. Have you even played the stupid game the boys like to play? You ever read that chat on, what is it called? Grand Theft Auto. I don't know. I think it's Grand Theft Auto or one of the ones that.
Yes, there's a Jewish thing
it's like suddenly people October 7th like, where is everybody going to defend us from these anonymous trolls online? I'm like, goodbye. I'm sorry. I'm 35 years old. You need your hands held because there's anonymous accounts that are saying memes of you on the internet. And you gotta log off. You just gotta log off. You shouldn't be in politics at all. You really shouldn't. You're too soft to be in politics.
I didn't bring this up in the last conversation because I think it just was distracted from the issue that we were discussing, but a clear example of this that I'd say raises legitimate concerns. So, and I saw you talk about this with Pierce Morgan too when you brought up Kanye West and those remarks. Okay, so I know you're bored of the subject, but just for the sake of clarity, what Kanye West said, I'm going deaf country on Jewish people. Nothing to do with Israel, nothing to do with policy. He said deaf country on Jewish people. And you admitted, I think, in videos after that, from what I've seen, and it looks like I haven't seen, but from what I've seen, admitted I fumbled on that a little bit.